Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Magic Ridge. Today, I have another deck tech for you. So this deck was featured on Commander Wars EDH. I believe it was episode 16. And I just wanted to go through the deck tech real quick before it ends up ripped apart. So there is not going to be a tapped out link either because I am going to take it apart. If you're unfamiliar with this deck type of building, every week I shoot Commander gameplay with a group of friends of mine. Like I said, every weekend. Commander Wars EDH. Go ahead and check it out. And so when Strixhaven came out, I was most excited about Extus Oriq Overlord. So I built the Mardu deck. Now, I just want to keep in mind that this deck is solely built out of cards out of my collection. So I didn't go out of the way to buy anything or really even trade for anything for that matter for this deck. Now, the deck does not revolve around the legend itself. It is the back of the MDFC called Awaken the Blood Avatar. So mainly you just want to cast Awaken the Blood Avatar as much as possible. I think a good include, which I do not have a lot of in this deck, would be like extra combat phases. So if you could produce more extra combat phases, I only had one card on hand. So, but yeah, I think that would be very nice with this type of deck. So since I didn't have that, I decided to produce a very large amount of tokens instead. But in the gameplay, I had a little basic land trouble, if you will. But that's okay. So, we want to cast Awaken the Blood Avatar. So, it costs 6 mana of any color and a black and a red mana. 8 CC for its first cast. It is a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. This spell costs 2 generic mana less to cast for each creature sacrificed this way. This is why I'm going to produce a bunch of tokens. And each opponent sacrifices a creature. Create a 3/6 black and red avatar creature token with haste. And when this creature attacks, it deals 3 damage to each opponent. So if you can find a way to attack and either remove it from combat, untapping it, removing it so the creature doesn't die if you don't have a very good target, or multiple combat phases, I think would be very nice. So if you could produce a lot of combat phases, that would be absolutely amazing. So yeah, let's head over to my desk and go over the deck tech. We'll be right back with you. Alright, let's get started with this deck tech. First up, we're going to start with the ramp. So, let's do that. So first up with the ramp, we've got Sol Ring. Alright. Next up, we got Arcane Signet. We're running 3 colors, so it's a good one. Next up, we have Boros Signet. Alright. We have Burnished Heart. Yes, sir. Next up, we have Worn Power Stone. Followed up by Pilgrim's Eye, which can then be used as fodder for the Awaken the Blood Avatar spell. I tried to include a lot of creatures that did other things and then could be food for the deck. Next up, we have Mardu Banner. Orzhov Cluestone. Boros Locket. Solemn Simulacrum, some more food with some other things attached to it. Next up, we have Hetron Archive, followed up by Core, Cartographer, another food for the spell. Now we're going to go right into the draw. Now this, I try not to include too many things to sacrifice for spells. I really only included this one because you really want to sacrifice your creatures to the spell. Commander spell, Blood Avatar. So, we have, for a draw, we have Village Rites. We have Sign in Blood. We have Midnight Reaper. Followed up by Dark Prophecy. That's a good one for the deck. We have Good Old Greed. We have some of these guys that I feel like are very underused as draw, but I really like them. So we have each player loses 2 life. You draw 2 cards for 4 mana. Not bad. Common. We have Bitter Revelation, same thing. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put 2 of them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Basically, essentially draw 2, and you can put cards in the graveyard if you're doing some reanimator shenanigans. Lose 2 life. And we have a Blood Price. Once again, look at the top 4 cards of your library, put 2 of them in your hand, essentially draw 2, the rest on the bottom of your library, lose 2 life, 4 mana. I really like those. Next up, we have Staff of Nin. Something I almost run in every single commander deck. Really like that extra draw. Next up, I decided to try this one out. Never played it, so we have Bad Deal. You draw 2 cards, and each opponent discards 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life. I don't think I got to play it. Next up, we have the Spot Removal. So we're going to run Disenchant. Also, remember the commander spell. Makes your opponent sacrifice the creature too. I think I'm only running 12 spot removal, not all of them creature based. So next up we have Go for the Throat. Yes, sir. Next up we have Liliana's Triumph. Each opponent sacrifices a creature if you control a Liliana Planeswalker, which I don't in this deck. Should have threw one in there. Each opponent also discards a card. So sacrifice, discard. Next up we have Fracture. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or Planeswalker. Very nice. Rip Apart. Another artifact or enchantment removal, or could deal 3 damage to creature or player. Planeswalker. Terminate. Destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. We have another food that does a thing. So we have Big Game Hunter. When Big Game Hunter enters the battlefield, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. It can't be regenerated. And then you can sacrifice it for Awaken the Blood Avatar. Very nice. Next up, we have Crackling Doom. Never played this before. Decided to run it. Pretty cool. Crackling Doom deals 2 damage to each opponent. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures he or she controls. Pretty nice. We have good old Eye Blight's Ending. Destroy target non-elf creature. Gotta love that tribal stuff. And Ashes to Ashes. Remove 2 target non-artifact creatures from the game. Exile essentially, and it does 5 damage to you. And then Return to Dust. Pretty sure we're mostly familiar with that. And then we have Ravenous Chupacabra. When a Ravenous Chupacabra enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls, and then he can be food for your spell. See a little theme there. Next up, we're going to go into the mass creature removal, or sweepers, board wipes, whatever you'd like to call them. First up, I have Rout. You may cast it at instant or flash speed if you pay an extra 2 generic mana. Destroy all creatures that can't be regenerated. More than likely cast it for the 5. Next up we have Hour of Reckoning. Has Convoke and also destroys all non-token creatures. I have a lot of token producing creatures because they're very easy to sacrifice and make. So that's why I'm running Hour of Reckoning. And we have Ingroup's Wake because then it does not affect my creatures, so I may sacrifice them to once again play my commander spell. Alright, it's the first half of the deck. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, wonderful evening. Like I said, I appreciate it if you take it a little easy on me. Like I said, I don't buy anything for these decks. They're basically what I have on hand. And I don't have as big of a collection as I would like to. But it's growing. It's getting there. Next up, we're going to do basically token producers. And there's a couple creatures that don't necessarily produce tokens, so we're going to go with that. So, I've had this card for a long time and haven't gotten to play it, so I decided to throw it in there. So we have a Servo Exhibition. Create 2 colorless Servo artifact creature tokens for 2 mana. Next up, we have a Nuisance Engine to make some pests over and over and over. We have Pia, Nalar. These are kind of just filler. That's what I had lying around, along with Thopter Engineer. We have Hordling Outburst. Very good. One card I did not have that I wish I had for this slot would have been Lingering Souls. I believe I traded like my only 3 copies to a friend of mine, so I did not have any throw in the deck. So we have Captain's Call. Make 3 1/1 Night Soldier tokens. And we have good old Endrick Sahar, Master Breeder. We have Increasing Devotion, 1/1 humans. We have Nadir, Agent of the Duskanel. Whenever he leaves the battlefield, you can create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token equal to its power. So, say I throw, I don't know, an equipment on him to give him +4/+0, and he dies with that on him. You can make 7 elf warrior tokens. Pretty cool. I read him, I thought he'd be pretty cool for the deck. We have good old Mirror Battlesphere, followed up by a Pentavus. All pretty good. This guy's freaking awesome. I like him. He has a very high casting cost, but I think he is nifty for sure. Reminds me of the living beings from Revelations, except we are missing the... We got the bull, human. We're missing one of them. We got the humanoid, the bird, the bull. I can't remember what the fourth one was like. Anyway, a little off topic there. Next up, we have Marshall Coop. This one's a good one. Also acts as a board wipe if need be. I believe it's a is it non-tokens? No, it's just other. So you can make 1/1 white soldier creature tokens, and if X is more than 5, destroy all other creatures besides the 5 or more 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. Pretty cool. Next up, we have Secure the Waste. Really like this artwork. Put X 1/1 white warrior creature tokens onto the battlefield. Very nice. And then we have good old Sun Titan, so I can get some of those cards back that produce tokens or do things. I'm trying to think of stuff, but yeah. Things like these Thopter Engineer and Pinot Noir and stuff like that. Good old Sun Titan. Next up, so after this, we just basically go into the spells and random things in the deck that don't really fit in any category. So it's basically just the spells and things. So we have Increasing Vengeance. This will copy any spell, instant or sorcery spell, make you more tokens or whatever, kill twice as many creatures. Then we got Sun Forger. Don't leave home without the Sun Forger. Followed by a Dualcaster Mage. Like I said, once again, does a copies an instant or sorcery, and then you could use them later on down the line as food. Followed by a Reiterate. I have like 3 of these copy instant or sorcery spells. And then we have some tutors. We have Mastermind's Acquisition. Oh, and here's my only extra combat phase. So we have a Relentless Assault. Like I said, if I had more extra combat phases, I would definitely include them in here. I'm trying to think of whatever else I would include. I'd definitely include some things for the avatars to protect them. So, like, either have some things to untap them, remove them from combat after they attack. That way, if you have no good attack lines or something like that. Also, anything that makes your cards indestructible or something like that. You definitely want to protect your avatars. Next up, I have Double Vision. Very nice. We have Coveted Prize, another tutor. We have Razaketh's Right, another tutor. Demonic Collusion, another tutor. And we have Skullstorm. This one's interesting. So we have 9 mana, 9 CC, sorcery. When you cast a spell, copy it for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. So that's kind of interesting. I assume the spell on the back counts for your each time. And each opponent sacrifices a creature. Each opponent who can't loses half their life rounded up. So yeah, pretty nifty. Other than that, we'll go over the mana base very quickly. There's nothing too crazy in it that I can think of. But yeah, we'll go over it real quick. If I can get it. Alright, so we have Evolving Wilds. Throw those in every multicolored deck. And I think I have one of each of the Thriving cards. We have Thriving Moor, the black version. Thriving Bluff. We have Terramorphic Expanse, again, always in a multicolor commander deck, along with Command Tower and Myriad Landscape. You'll find those in most of my decks. And then we have Thriving Heath, the white version. We have good old Nomad Outpost, Rupture Spire, Exotic Orchard, Shimmerdrift Vale, Archways Commons. I kind of like these in like these weird decks, having availability to all colors just by one turn pumping a mana into it. I've grown to really like these, so I usually throw a few of these in my decks. Next up, we have the red and black lands. We have Bloodfell Caves, Rakdos Guildgate, Canyon Sloth, Sulfurious Mire. Then we have the black and white mana. So we have Caves of Colas, Snowfield Sinkhole, Temple of Silence, Grime Climb Pathway, and then we have the Boros lands. We have Temple of Triumph, Alpine Meadow, Boros Guildgate, Windscarred Crag, and then we go on to the basic lands, which I didn't have enough of before. I've added some now. So I'm rocking 4 plains, 1 swamp. I would advise maybe 2 or 3 swamps at least. And then it looks like 3 mountains. And then we have a terrain generator, an access tunnel, target creature with power 3 or less, aka the avatars can't be blocked. That way, if you don't have an opening, you know what I mean? Save your creatures. And then we have a Blighted Fen, some more target opponent sacrifice a creature type thing. That's kind of part of the theme of the deck. A lot of sacrificing for the opponents. And then we put a Temple of the False God in here because why not? So yeah, that's the deck. Nothing super crazy. Like I said, I was not very inspired by the Strixhaven set. So basically, I only made the Awaken the Blood Avatar deck and also Plarg, which I believe came out on Wednesday. So yeah, if you want to see a better and more beefy, really good commander deck, go ahead and check out my Avacyn Angel of Hope Revelations deck tech. That one's a little bit older, but if you follow the tapped out link, that was edited literally a couple days ago. I put the new avatar from Strixhaven in there. Gonna test that bad boy out. Yeah. Appreciate you checking out the deck, and you can follow me during the Modern Horizons 2 spoiler season, which we are in right now. So I'll be back tomorrow with more spoilers. See ya.